peeps? Welcome back to the Be Legendary podcast. Today we have a very special episode coming your way. It is May. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're going to touch on that subject. We're also going to talk a little bit about the new Avengers movie and how that actually applies to real life. But first, I want to introduce a brand new segment we're going to be doing every time that it's just moi here on the podcast. Since social media and most of you get caught up, as well as myself, in things that are funny or controversial on social media, I wanted to share something per week that was maybe the funniest or most talked about subject so that your brain can decide, okay, we're going to talk about the funny for 30 to 45 seconds to a minute, the mundane, and then we're going to start talking about the good stuff just to reopen it back up for you guys. So this is the week's best news in 1 minute or less. Let's be real, people. I don't get it. Is the dress white? Is it gold? Is it blue? Is it purple? Man, I don't know. To me, yeah, I think it was white and gold or whatever. That's what it was to me. It wasn't blue. Also on this Yanny and Laurel thing, if you think that you hear Yanny or that you're going to hear Yanny, you're going to hear Yanny. I heard Laurel all day, every day. Take that to the grave every single time. But if you want to hear something, chances are you're going to. So I hope that debate didn't cause too much dip in your productivity and that you're able to sleep at night and not get too infuriated on social media or get blocked off social media for discussing that. So that was this week's funny in a minute or less. Now, I think it's really interesting, and what I wanted to focus on today was about reality. I was holding a sales meeting last week and I asked each of my reps, I said, who is the greatest band of all time? There was about 12 of them in the room, and they all said someone different. And I said, okay, I want you to justify why. I want you to share why. I want you to sell me on why that person or that group is the greatest band of all time. And everybody had their own opinion. Everybody had their own vision, and they were right. And as other people started discussing and talking about it, those people were wrong, but what they had stuck in their mind was right. And it just really hit me that we all do live in a different reality. Somebody that has $2,000 in the bank might be happy about that, while somebody else has $20,000 or $50,000 in the bank and they're sweating bullets on how they're going to get more. And I guess that brings me to question you, why are you even listening? Why did you even tune in? Chances are you might be a balla shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala. You might have a big house, 5 cars, living large. You might be rolling through the 6 with your woe, like Drake. Or you might be on a boat with Pitbull, yelling, it's going down. I'm yelling timber, right? Or maybe you're here because 86% of people live paycheck to paycheck. Think about that next time you're in a restaurant or you're at work or you're out in public. 86% of people live paycheck to paycheck. And that's an astonishing stat that 50% of Americans have $1,000 or less in their bank account. What does that mean? That means that maybe you're here to try to help that, or maybe there's something about yourself that you don't particularly like, whether you're overweight, or whether financially you're not where you want to be, or whether relationship-wise, or whether personally you looking in the mirror, you might look in there and not like what you see. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's something that's touched my life, not just with friends and family members, but me. About 8 months ago, I felt like I had hit rock bottom. Personally, with my weight, I was like 6 foot, 6'1", and 290 nearly pounds. And I didn't feel good about myself. I love to eat. I love good food. If you ever need any tips, I mean, between Yard House, Whataburger, Raising Cane's Chicken, others, I love it. Yeah, I love it. But I didn't like what I saw when I looked in the mirror. And what I'm learning through life is that is what is most important. You got to look at the man or the woman that's in the mirror. And one of my past episodes, I shared one of my favorite poems that talked about that. But I think it's really true. And I went out and saw Avengers, and then it prompted me to watch Doctor Strange because I had never seen him before. And you know what's really awesome about these movies, as well as Deadpool? That's great. All these characters have so many similarities to your life, to my life. All of them have an identity crisis at one point in time. All of them are wondering, am I destined for more? most, if not all, never felt like they quite fit in. That status quo, 9 to 5, wasn't for them. And that's what this podcast is all about, is to be able to help you be your legendary self and pull out your own superhero, right? I prefer Iron Man, even with all of his money and his coolness and all these gadgets. He had this inner struggle. Was what he was doing to make money with Stark Industries hurting more than it was actually helping, right? And that's something that we all need to look in the mirror is with ourselves, is how do you feel about you, and becoming free of other people's opinions. And that's what I think this month is all about. That in the past, I grew up in a generation or in a place with a family and friends that there was no such thing as depression. You just aren't feeling good, or you don't, and they didn't understand, and I didn't understand. And it wasn't until I got older it was okay to say, hey, I have this that happens to me sometimes, but I'm going to work through it, and I'm going to address it and not let it take over me. And the last 8 months, I've tried to really set a precedence for myself. I've stopped drinking soda pop. It's a pop where I'm from. I started eating better. I started on a diet called keto, which is a lifestyle for me now. It's the only thing I've been able to stick to and really like. Not only have I seen results losing over 50 pounds, but I also feel better. I look better, I feel better, I do better. And I've got a lot of interest from that, and I'm going to start posting a little bit more about that, and I'll do an episode on it. But, at the end of the day, your body, yourself, it is a temple. It is a vehicle for your spirit. And if you're not happy with you, and you don't like what you see in the mirror, then how are you going to be able to help others? Or how are you going to be able to grow? Or how are you ever going to be able to be happy in other areas? Because at the end of the day, you can have all the money in the world that you want. You can find somebody that completes you, quote unquote. You can have the greatest job. You can have good kids and be happy. But deep inside, you're always going to be wondering, what happened, or what's next, or why do I feel like maybe I don't belong? I know I should be happy. I know I should be fulfilled, but I'm not. And at the end of the day, I think that's what's most important, is that you are an Iron Man, or a Wonder Woman, or hopefully not a Hulk. You have these qualities deep inside you. There is that superhero that, what could you do if you had no limits? These superheroes have these talents that to most, they seem like they defy laws, of gravity or whatever. But we all live in our own reality. And you can have a reality where you're meant for less, where you're meant to have $1,000 less in your bank account, or you're meant to live paycheck to paycheck, or you're meant to live overweight, or by changing your thoughts, changing the people that you're around, changing your habits, changing your action, putting in action, that you can change your reality too. And at the end of the day, people in your circle, or even with yourself, if they're asking you to do less or giving you suggestions to do less, you might want to reconsider if that's you, if you're saying that to yourself, like, oh, I shouldn't go work out today, or I shouldn't go to work, or now I shouldn't shoot the podcast, or whatever it is you want to do, you need to reconsider, and that's the time when you need to put action in. Or if you have other people saying, hey, I've had people tell me, oh, just, post every once in a while, don't overrun us, don't throw it down our throat, whatever. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you. You got to do what sets your world on fire. And that's it. So to bring it back, I think it's important to be able to acknowledge your inner superhero, your inner Avenger, and realize that whatever you want to achieve, you can. And I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not trying to, motivate you every single day. I think motivation can be something that wears off. What I want to do is be able to give you hope. Is to be able to give you some tools, daily, weekly, that can help better your life from things that not only I've experienced, but I'm a student myself. I watch other podcasts. I listen to other podcasts. I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of books. And in my own way, I can be a wealth or a resource for you. And that's what I try to get across in these podcast episodes, is that, I'm a student as well as a teacher. And it's okay. We can learn from everybody. Everybody has a story. And once again, every day we have a choice. We can be average. We can, allow our reality to overtake us, or we can go deep down in our heart. We can figure out what anger or what issues are troubling us and work on those and improve those. and be our legendary self. So that's my motto to you. Look in the mirror. I hope you love what you see, because you are perfect the way that you are. All the choices, everything you've made, whether somebody says they're right or they're wrong, have led you to this point. And that's where you are, and you can't change that. So all we can do is move on from here. Love you, peeps. Thanks for supporting the podcast. We'll be back again next week. Remember, you can be basic, you can be average, or you can be legendary.